good, YouTube? It's your boy 2K the God, my man Sus. Welcome to the Gods of Boxing Talk. Now for this segment is going to be a What's Hot. And what's hot right now? Funny ass story, man. Amir King Kong, man. You know, if he's not getting knocked silly around the ring, he's apparently in his free time on Skype choking that chicken. You know what I'm saying?
Wanking the wanker, or whatever they call
fucking,
it over there.
you fucking wanker.
Yeah.
Whatever, right? I've been called that so many times by the UK, I don't even fucking, that shit funny as fuck to me. Anyway, I've been called a cunt too by the UK. Anyway, yeah, I mean, funny shit is, niggas ain't gonna say that shit to my face.
Nah.
Anyway, but he's been wanking on Skype, and the sex tape is leaked. Man, and the fucked up thing is, Amir Khan got a pretty nice ass wife, man. She look good, fam. That's gonna be a super L. Cause she see this nigga whacking, you know what I'm saying? Looking at some model, just, you know, his dick probably only got like 2 inches on the motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, bro. He whacking the 2 inches. His wife is like, oh my God, no, please, no. And she's beautiful. American, Pakistani. Somebody gonna get that. You know what I'm saying? Somebody gonna get that, fam.
Worst of all, and you know, this was the first thing that came to my mind. I know a lot of women probably gonna hate me for saying this shit, but hey, I gotta look out for my boy. First thing that came to my mind was, man, he not only gonna take an L by losing her, but I'm sure he gonna take some L's in his damn bank account too if he does. You know,
Tiger Woods.
Hopefully hopefully he has some type of prenup or something, because we might see Amir Khan fighting for the money. Now we just might get the Kell Brook fight,
nigga.
You know,
we might get the Vladimir Klitschko fight. You know what I'm saying? Amir Khan versus Vladimir Klitschko, nigga, this September, because this motherfucker got to pay alimony now.
Yep, absolutely. Damn, man.
Real fucked up shit, man. But yeah, you know, his wife she looked like the type that, like Eddie Murphy said, fam, I want half. Half.
Yeah.
I want half.
Yeah. Yeah, man. You know, the other thing that sucks about it, you know, I don't know anything about their marriage or whatever, but they had his family and his wife had a pretty publicized beef on some social media website. I don't know if it was Twitter or Instagram or whatever, but his family had already been having problems with her, with the way she dressed or whatever the case was, and kind of looks like they were nitpicking when you look at what Khan was doing.
Right.
You know, so I mean, this is all the fuel, you know, a woman needs whenever she's not happy in a relationship or whenever things are going sour. You know, you got the family going at her, you know, with their complaints and their gripes and whatever their tradition calls for. And then you got the husband, you know, who they probably see as just their little angel over here whacking it, you know, to a Skype supermodel.
Word.
So
I wonder what the supermodel
really hate
look like.
Though, man.
What the supermodel look like? I didn't see her.
I really hope she was bad as hell.
Hey.
You know, and even more so, I hope that Khan was hitting that.
I hope he was.
You know what I mean?
This is a super L, fam. Like,
exactly.
Golden rule, men out there. If you're gonna cheat, make sure you cheat with a bad motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly.
So you ain't gotta worry about, you know, looking back at the past and like, damn, nigga, that bitch was bad and I fucked it up. And now I got this old, ugly, Shrek-looking bitch that won't leave me the fuck alone. Man, oh man, oh man. Next! And it kind of ties in with Amir Khan whacking. By the way, We don't know if he was really whacking. They just said he was performing a sexual act on Skype, but it's pretty much whacking.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much. Nothing else a man can do. Women, they can grab their titties and all sorts of shit. We can't do that. You know what I'm saying? We just whack.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
Anywho, Kell Brook has recently been talking about going up to 154. Amir Khan fight is still on the table, but it's kind of took a back burner a little bit with this new information about him looking at 154 now. Seth was saying that he does have a deadline that's nearing, where he needs to make a decision about defending the IBF title against his mandatory Mr. Errol Spence.
Yeah.
If he chooses to go to 154, then obviously that's not his intention. That's not his intention anyway, even thinking about trying to fight Amir Khan, in my honest opinion. But going to 154, I believe that will tell the IBF what they need to know about Kell Brook actually entertaining a fight with Errol Spence.
Oh, yeah.
Now, my honest opinion, Kell Brook goes to 154. Man, they gonna turn this nigga out better than a $2 hooker, fam.
Yeah.
Yo, just like, you know, everybody, when you're from the hood, there's always that one girl, you know what I'm saying? She done fucked everybody on the block, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Kell Brook is about to be that girl at 154, fam. They gonna wear this nigga out. Everybody gonna beat him.
Yeah. Yep.
Everybody. What do you think about that, man?
Man, I think 154 is just a horrible move. You know, a lot of people put too much stock in his performance against Gennady Golovkin at 160, but you have to look at Golovkin's style as it pertains to the guys at 154 that he could possibly be going up against.
Right.
Jamal and Jermell Charlo are not going to stand there with their hands up and just let you throw punches at them.
Yeah.
You know, those are young guys. They're big, strong, 154-pound fighters. You know, they're taller than Kell. So absolutely, man. Absolutely not. You know, that's a horrible decision. And then think about Demetrius Andrade versus Kell Brook. Come on, people.
That's worse than Errol Spence versus Kell Brook, fam.
And this is my problem with a lot of what Kell did when he chose to dare to be great and fight Gennady Golovkin. I was always under the impression that he didn't, for whatever reason, I'm not calling him a ducker, you know, or anything like that. For whatever reason, he didn't want to fight Errol Spence. And he said that he was daring to be great by going up to 160, but I didn't put too much stock into that because before Errol Spence, you were all for fighting your mandatories.
Right.
You know, now you got a mandatory that's actually, you know, a fucking fighter and not just a body in the ring with you, and you want to go and do other things. So, to me, I always believe there was more stock in him losing to Errol Spence in terms of how it would affect his ranking and what it would do to him at 147 pounds than there was if he went up and lost to Gennady Golovkin. Everybody expected that. No one really cared. All you were going to get is what we eventually got, and that's, oh, man, he did really good against Golovkin. Oh, man, did you see Kell Brook? He really gave it his all. That's all we were going to get, and that's all that was ever going to be said with that fight. He was never going to beat Golovkin.
Nope.
So, you know, why not go up? I'm not going to lose my belt. I'm not going to lose my ranking. You know, why not go up and, you know, dare to be great? Who knows? I might just have a shot. And, you know, come on, people.
That boy, as 78 puts it, sold his O. 100%.
Absolutely. I like that.
Yeah. Next! So, crazy because Floyd Mayweather was adamant that Badou Jack will be going to 175. Hell, we talked about it in our last video, which was the breakdown of the Badou Jack James DeGale fight, right?
Yep.
There might be something going on here. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. I personally still think he will go to 175, but the WBC is going on with, their decision to go ahead and order Callum Smith against Badou Jack. If you guys didn't know, Callum Smith was actually the fucking mandatory for the winner of James DeGale Badou Jack. Obviously, WBC was like, yeah, we thought Badou Jack won that fight. You know what I'm saying? Let's go ahead and order this. They've already got a purse bid date and everything of February 17th if these two teams can't come to an agreement. Now, if an agreement cannot be reached and or Badou Jack decides to vacate his WBC belt by going to 175, then the WBC will allow Callum Smith to fight Anthony Darrell. Not Andre, everybody. Anthony, the guy that Badou Jack beat. For the vacant WBC 168-pound title, man. What do you think about this, man? Do you think it's just, formalities of the WBC just going through with the plan that they already had for the winner of this fight? Or is it really an inclination that Jack may not really go to 175?
You know what? I'm going to chalk it up to what you initially said. Just the WBC going through formalities. I really believe Badou Jack is ready and is more than willing to go to 175 pounds. Like I said in our other video, he's 33 years old. I will put a little bit of stock into him, actually having a really hard time making weight. You made some pretty good points in terms of just how he looked. And how he performed in the James DeGale fight, but given his age and where he is in his career, I think the dude's ready to move up. Now I don't agree with the decision at all. Like I said, I would hire the best strength and conditioning coach in the world before I moved up to 175 and tried to perform in a division that I just wasn't going to be successful in.
Right.
So it is what it is. I before I call him out on anything, I'm a reserve judgment and say that it's just the WBC going through their formalities and saying, hey, we think he won. This is the fight that's up next for him. Here's the first bid, date and all that other shit. So I'm just going to wait and see. Now, if he does actually go ahead on and fight Callum Smith, and make the 168-pound weight limit, then we've got a problem.
100%. To be honest with you, I actually like that fight, man. Callum Smith, he's a bit overrated by the UK fans.
Yeah.
But he's still a good. He's still a good fighter though. And I believe Badou Jack is probably a good matchup for him and his style. He's also a good body puncher, just like Badou Jack is. He also weights too. One of my biggest criticisms of Badou Jack, Callum Smith weights a lot in the ring. But he places his punches very well. He doesn't have the defense that Badou Jack has. Badou Jack has a much better defense than Callum Smith. But they're both explosive as far as their punching accuracy and their body work. And it'll be an excellent fight, man. So I'm kind of intrigued and hoping again that Badou Jack stays at 168. But again, if he stays at 168, I ain't trying to see Callum Smith, motherfucker. I want a rematch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
I agree.
It is what it is. Next! The last of this segment. So, if you guys haven't already heard, there's a possibility in the next couple of months of a Adonis Stevenson versus Joe Smith Jr. matchup. Again, I'm not looking at the rankings. Maybe I should pull it up. He is the WBC light heavyweight champion of the world, right? It just never ceases to amaze me how Adonis Stevenson just happens to want to fight the guys that are not the top fighters at 175, fam.
Yeah.
Sergey Kovalev seems to be doing this. Jean Pascal, Bernard Hopkins, shit, hell, even Isaac Chilemba is more noticeable or more recognized than Joe Smith Jr., right? I know Joe Smith Jr. is coming off of 2 great wins. Andre Fonfara was an excellent win. Bernard Hopkins was an excellent win. I take nothing away from him. Bernard Hopkins was also 51 years old.
Whoa, my bad, 2K. Are you sure he wasn't 154 years old? I don't know.
Hey,
my bad.
I said the nigga was 176 years old on Sunday's podcast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hey, so, there's some debate, so I don't know.
Hey, the nigga's age is in question, much like Sonny Liston. We don't know how old the nigga is. That's why he the alien. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not trying to take nothing away from Joe Smith Jr. 2 excellent fights, but the thing is, Joe Smith Jr. just came out of nowhere, fam, and I mean, it's to me, it's premature for him to go into a fight, or let me say this: it's premature for Adonis Stevenson to be saying, "I want you now." When you've got Kovalev, you've got Andre Ward, you've got Artur Beterbiev. I'm looking at the rankings right now. Alida Alvarez is still the fucking mandatory. Alvarez is going to fight Lucian Bute. And I'll give Adonis credit. The reason why he's not fighting Alvarez because Alvarez backed out and said, "Shit, let me get one more fight," which was some bullshit on his part, right? So I'll give Adonis credit on that one. But number 2 is, of course, Sergey Kovalev. The rematch between him and Andre Ward is possibly not going to happen. So why aren't you throwing your name in the pot for that? Okay?
Yeah.
You've got Alexander Gavadzik. That's the guy that just beat Isaac Chilemba. He's number 3. Okay? What about him? He just beat Isaac Chilemba. He deserves a shot. You got Artur Beterbiev. This is another boogeyman in the sport, right? He beat Sergey Kovalev in the amateurs. This is the guy that a lot of people think Sergey Kovalev does not want any parts of as a professional. He's ranked higher than Joe Smith Jr. And then finally you got him at number 5. Like, why does he always look at the last ranked motherfucker of the top 5 contenders to fight, fam? You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying this is a bad fight. I mean, it's not a terrible fight. But I just named 3 contenders above him who are available that will give him an even better fight. Man, what do you think about this, man?
You know what? I'm not going to disagree with anything that you said because you threw out the rankings and you're absolutely right. You know, I can't remember the last time I seen Adonis Stevenson in a competitive fight. I probably have to go back to, I guess, when he fought Fonfara.
Well, he fought Thomas Williams Jr. in his last fight. That was competitive.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. You know what? I won't shit on it too bad because I do like the fight.
Yeah.
You know, and I want to see what Joe Smith Jr. can really do, you know. I'm sure Adonis's WBC title will be up for grabs, and that's going to make the fight that much better, you know. So it should be a good fight, but I am ready to see Adonis in the ring with Kovalev, Ward, you know, the guys that you named, Beterbiev. You know, I want to see him fight those guys, you know. But like I said, if they get this fight done, you know, I won't be mad. Apparently, I believe the fight's supposed to be somewhere in New York. I think they said Uniondale, New York, or something like that. Yeah. So, you know, I won't be mad, you know, at it. Joe Smith Jr. to me is those guys that if he beats Adonis, his career is going to skyrocket.
If he beats Adonis, put this nigga on the top 10 pound for pound list. I'm not bullshitting. That's 3 motherfuckers that were top contenders. One being a Hall of Fame fighter. I don't give a fuck if he was 51, but he was still 51. But he still put him on his record, and then he beats the reigning WBC champion since 2013 at light heavyweight. Yes, he probably should be like at number 9 or 10 of the pound for pound rankings if he wins this fight, fam. By knockout too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be. I mean, like I said, I really see this fight being super entertaining for as long as it lasts. You know, Stevenson, in my mind, doesn't have the best defense as Joe Smith Jr. So it's gonna be one of those fights where I'm saying whoever lands first is gonna have the edge in the fight.
Yeah.
So, like I said, won't be too mad at it, but I absolutely see where you and a lot of other people are coming from when they talk about Adonis and fighting a lot of these guys, you know, or just these guys in the top 5.
Yeah.
You know, I can't make any excuses for it. You know, I'm not a huge Adonis Stevenson fan, and honestly, he kind of annoys me a little bit. You know, I think he, to me, he's like this cheesy version of Floyd Mayweather. You know, like he just when I see him in some of his videos, he's got a fur coat on, and he's like, you know,
man.
the champ, I'm the champ, and it's just so cheesy. I can't stand it. So, like I said, I don't mind the fight. It is what it is.
Yeah, I guess my biggest gripe is that since knocking out Chad Dawson in 2013, it was June of 2013, we're going on 4 fucking years ago. We've only seen guys like Andres Fonfara when he was not the Andres Fonfara that beat Chavez Jr. Actually, he was the Andres Fonfara that beat washed up Gabriel Campillo, and he while he knocked him out, he still looked vulnerable in that fight. That's why I knew he would lose to Adonis. You know, Tony Bellew, Tommy Karpinski. You know, he moved up Seikio Bika from 168. That was the most bullshit of all of them, because at least the rest of them were full-fledged light heavyweights. Seikio Bika was a 168 pounder that he moved up and defended his title against. He didn't even have a fight at 175 before that. I mean, that was bullshit. You know, it's high tide that he start fighting Sergey Kovalev and other guys in the division who deserve a shot, who've been around, had their name recognized for a little while now, and they deserve a shot. You know, Joe Smith Jr., like I said, he did win 2 great fights to get there. So I'm not shitting on it 100%. I'm just griping at the fact that he always seems to pick the lowest, basically number 5 out of the top 5. He always picks number 5.
Yep.
Come on, man. All right, YouTube, that's going to conclude this segment. Do what you do in the comment section. It'll be real. This is real talk for real fans. 1.